In the opening frames of the Dark Crystal, we're told of a great fracture. The crystal, once whole, now split. And with it, the balance of the world collapses. Before it broke, the crystal held harmony, a nexus of energy, vision, and connection. It was the axis mundi of this world, and when it shattered, everything fragmented with it. But here's the deeper layer. This isn't just world building, it's soul mapping. The crystal is not an object, it's the self, the center, the sacred core of consciousness. When it shatters, so too does the psyche. What follows is not societal chaos, but spiritual collapse, an alchemical descent. The mystics and Skeksis are not species. They are split aspects of the same being, spirit and shadow, severed at the core. And just like in a dream, they now roam separate lives, unaware that their enemy is their reflection. This isn't just fantasy. This is another mythic mirror. The film starts not with a hero, but with a wound, a primal trauma, the kind that splits your sense of self, that first heartbreak, that first betrayal, that moment you stop trusting your own light. Just as the nothing devoured Fantasia in the never-ending story, this fracture in the crystal represents the collapse of psychic wholeness. It's not the end, it's the beginning, the sacred start of individuation. The moment the soul realizes something is missing, and the journey begins to reclaim it. The fracture isn't a mistake. It's the scar that shows you the path. We're introduced to two apparent opposites, the decaying, tyrannical Skeksis and the serene, chant-whispering mystics. At first glance, they seem like a classic good versus evil. But this isn't morality. It's mythology. This is the psyche, split and personified. The Skeksis are grotesque, vain, addicted to power. They feast on essence and cling to illusion. They are the unintegrated shadow, raw appetite with no anchor. Meanwhile, the mystics drift in circles, murmuring truths, but never interfering. They embody detachment, the spirit archetype so withdrawn it becomes inert. Each believes the other is the problem, but both are wrong. They are two halves of a single being, and their split has created a false polarity, a myth of separation. The true danger isn't one side or the other, it's the fracture itself. The illusion that you can sever the shadow from the spirit and still be whole. The Skeksis don't simply dominate, they enchant, they offer power, status, comfort, but only if you submit. The mystics murmur like ancient dreams, hinting at something greater, but never intervening. Both are distorted, both are incomplete. This is where the journey of integration begins, when you realize neither pole can save you, because they're not enemies. They're fragments of the same soul, estranged and aching for reunion. And until they are made whole, no healing can begin, not in the crystal, not in the soul. Jen is not your typical chosen one. He doesn't arrive with power, he arrives with absence. He is the orphaned ego, plucked from annihilation and raised in the care of one psychic polarity, the mystics. But mystics don't raise warriors. They raise seekers, and seekers by design are incomplete. Jen has knowledge but no connection. He has discipline but no courage. He has fragments of prophecy but no sense of his own story. When he is told to find the shard, he doesn't rise. He doesn't roar. He wanders, reluctant, uncertain, hesitant. This is not heroism. This is trauma. This is a soul searching for a shape. Jen steps into a myth without fully knowing why. The call is inherited, not understood. And like Bastian, the real quest is internal, to become someone who can carry the myth without being consumed by it. This is the pattern. Divine essence trapped in a world it doesn't remember choosing. The call to adventure is really the call to remember. And Jen, like every fragment of the self, must stumble toward that remembering without a map. He is not ready, but readiness was never the point. He is wounded. That is the point. The podlings are not warriors or mystics or chosen ones. They are the unguarded soul, innocent, joyful, alive. Their way of being isn't strategic, it's sacred. They are the part of the psyche untouched by doctrine, not yet fractured by duality. And that's what makes them dangerous to the Skeksis. To the shadow, innocence is intolerable. It must be controlled or destroyed. The Skeksis don't just enslave the podlings, they drain their essence, strip their light, extract joy like it's a resource to be mined. This is not just cruelty, it's alchemical theft. The ego's hunger for power consumes what it cannot understand, unstructured vitality, raw being. What we see here isn't just oppression, it's repression. This is what happens when the psyche exiles its own childlike core, the part that imagines freely, that dares to feel without defense, the part that creates without agenda, the part that sings when no one's listening. The podlings are what the soul loses when the shadow reigns unchecked. Their silence is the cost of forgetting. They are the part of us we remember only in dreams, dancing in the background while we chase control, and yet their music lingers in the air like a memory the ego can't erase. Aughra is not a guide in the traditional sense. She doesn't comfort or explain. She disorients, she disturbs, she disrupts, and that's what makes her holy. In a world ruled by extremes, mystics or Skeksis, light or dark, Aughra stands in between. She is neither and both, a liminal being, the Crone archetype fully embodied, ancient, unapologetic, indifferent to politeness and impossible to control. Her wisdom isn't wrapped in parables. It's thrown like a stone through a stained glass window. Where others whisper, she bellows. Where others preach, she observes. And when she speaks, it's not to tell you what to believe. It's to make you question why you ever believed anything at all. Her orrery, the cosmic mechanism she guards, is more than a plot device. It's a symbol of the unconscious itself, spinning, immense, unknowable. She sees the turning of worlds because she knows what the mystics forgot. Knowledge isn't peace, it's pressure. Aughra is the Gnostic Sophia in exile, the dark feminine who was cast out for knowing too much. She doesn't lead Jen gently, she throws him into the fire, because growth doesn't come from answers, it comes from disorientation. And when she gives him the shard, she doesn't bless him, she tests him. What will you do with it? She asks, not as a question but as a challenge. A reminder that symbols are only sacred when made real. This is the turn in the journey when the hero meets something ancient inside themselves, not a teacher, a threshold. And the only way past it is to burn through it. Jen's journey through the world after receiving the shard is not linear. It's chaotic, wandering, fragmented. This is not a quest across terrain, it's a passage through the psyche. Every step he takes is symbolic, every encounter a reflection. The world becomes a dreamscape, filled with riddles and dangers that seem disconnected until they're not. The forests, the ruins, the strange creatures, they're not random. They are fragments of a mind breaking open, each one presenting a choice, collapse into fear, or move forward without knowing. This is the labyrinth, not built of stone, but of perception. And the deeper Gen goes, the less sure he becomes of himself. This isn't weakness, it's transformation. The death motif begins to creep in. He loses control, faces near death, watches others fall. He starts to understand that this is not a hero's path. It's a shedding of certainty, of comfort, of self. The deeper truth of this segment is simple. You don't ascend by climbing. You ascend by descending into the unknown and surviving what it does to you. This is the dream time between knowing and becoming. And no one comes out of it unchanged. This is where it all converges. Jen and Kira, two souls divided by fate, come together not as lovers, not as archetypes, but as aspects, two parts of a psychic whole, the logos and the anima, the masculine and feminine, light and instinct. Kira's sacrifice is not just an act of bravery, it's the death of innocence, the moment when the ego realizes that wholeness demands cost, demands grief, demands blood, and Jen's act of placing the shard back into the crystal, that's not repair, it's surrender. The crystal doesn't need fixing, it needs reintegration. And as it seals, so too do the Skeksis and Mystics merge, grotesque and sublime collapsing into one luminous form. This is the ultimate alchemy, the sacred union of opposites, not destruction, not purification, integration. This is the truth Jung tried to tell us. The self is not the light. The self is the union of light and shadow, of the seen and the unseen, of body and essence. Only when these fragments are brought back into contact without denial can true healing begin. The restored crystal is not a return to the past. It's a transformation into something never seen before. And that's what this film has been leading us to all along. Not salvation, but integration. Not perfection, but presence. Because the only way out of fracture is through it. And on the other side, you don't find peace. You find yourself. The dark crystal doesn't promise redemption. It doesn't wrap its myth in a bow. It gives us something rarer, the image of a soul made whole through fracture. The wound wasn't wrong, it was the way in, to descend, to suffer, to integrate, and to rise not as the person you were, but as the being you were always meant to become. The story closes, but the spiral of becoming never stops. The crystal is whole, but the journey of integration, that's yours to carry forward. If this journey resonated, Only Fire Remembers is for you. Our new guide offers 7 days, 6 ritual tracks, and mythic practice. No fluff, just descent. You'll find it on Ko-fi, link below. And if you want more explorations like this, like, subscribe, and stay close to the fire.